All in Sports Network. We love sports.
It is Thursday, September 4th, right here on your daily fix for all things Texas Longhorns. I'm Tanner Carlson. That is Jake Jimerson. This is presented to you by Rogue Sports Network, and this is All in Horns. Today's episode, we're going to go over what Jake and I would like to see as the game plan, what the game plan is for Texas, San Jose State, and even moving past San Jose State, really for the next 3 weeks, what these cupcake games need to look like in terms of Texas kind of working out some kinks a little bit. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. New AP polling coming out in Texas, ranked number 7th in the country. We're not going to spend a ton of time on it because Jake and I just aren't big fans of the AP polls before any weeks before 4 or 5. And then a little bit of what we are dealing with the San Jose State Spartans. And so we're going to go ahead and dive right into it. But before we get going, Jake, is enough of the hating already? Are we already there? Like, I know you and I talked about it. I know we had prepared ourselves and just said it's going to be insane when Arch doesn't live up to the hype in week 1. And it's already, I mean, the game wasn't even over. And I was already at a point of like, I think I'm over. Like, it's almost become a shtick now. It's an internet meme that's just overdone already of Arch sucks, which I don't know if anybody truly believes that. I think they're just all jumping on the hate train as quickly as possible. It's not surprising to me that it is what it is. I guess what's surprising to me is how quickly it just got to this point.
If you told me he was going to play like that, this would not shock me. And it's not going to be over until he performs in a big game now. Correct. And so that means he could throw for 1,000 yards each game the next 3 games. And everyone would say he sucks still.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, you have Texas fans doing it. I'm on Inside Texas. I'm on Orange Bloods. I'm on Texas football. And especially on the bigger message boards, there's already people asking, will there be a leash for Arch? And, you know, the possibility of bringing someone else in to see what you got. And it's like, and of course you get some responses from the staff that are just like, no, this is Arch's job. For better or worse, this will be Arch's job.
Well, and here's the thing too, Jake, and this is what's going to lead into our discussion about how the coaching staff should go into these games with Arch to work out these kinks and to get the offense on track of what we want it to look like and stuff. And so, but I just think that like the pure chaos that has surrounded this moment, that one game, 60 minutes of a sample size, which we've already seen him play Mississippi State. We've already seen him play UL Monroe. We've already seen him play a whole second half, really a half and a half against UTSA when he took over. So it's not like this was his first start. It was his first road start. It was his first start against a ranked opponent who was number 3 in the country, defending national champions.
And has the best safety in college football. One of the best safeties in college football history, arguably.
Has the best, maybe the 2 best players in college football. Now, one of them he doesn't have to worry about because it's on the offensive side of the ball. But I would say Caleb Downs is, if not the best college football player, the second best college football player on any team in the entire country. With all that being said, it was a bad game. He missed opportunities that he should not have missed. Like, that's fine. But it just is the amount of stuff that is sent to me and the amount of stuff that I see on my timeline and just of like Arch is the number 1 trending topic throughout this entire week. It feels like of any time, of like any news source, like not even just the sports world, of all news.
Cade Klubnik is thanking Arch Manning. He should send him a thank you note.
Yeah.
Because Cade Klubnik laid a stinker down at home in his senior year, where he's
been the starter for 3 years.
In most people's mind, if you were going to pick a Heisman before the year, I know Arch had the top odds. That's odds. That's different. I think a lot of people would have picked either Klubnik or Nussmeier.
Yeah.
And Klubnik stunk it up.
I mean, Nussmeier didn't play like overly that much better. He won the game.
Yeah, I mean, LSU kind of got screwed in that second half. That should have been a 24-10 game at worst.
Yeah.
And I thought Nussmeier played well, but yeah, he didn't look like a Heisman. He's the Heisman.
Right.
I don't think anyone really did. Week 1, at least anyone that played anyone with a pulse.
Correct.
And well, maybe that wide receiver from Miami with that catch, but
The one play,
yeah, the one play, the Heisman play. Yeah, it's just crazy because that's my thing is why are we not? I haven't seen any hate towards Klubnik. And I'm not saying you should throw hate. You shouldn't be throwing hate towards any college player. Unless it's just your rival, and you just if Oklahoma's trying to compare stats, and it's like you struggled to run the ball against Illinois State. Your offensive line couldn't move Illinois State.
Look, I don't mind.
Down.
I don't mind hating on college players in general. I don't necessarily think that it's like logically sane to judge based off of a week 1 game, like for the big picture.
Their first road start.
Well, even Klubnik has 3 seasons worth of stuff to talk about. Like Nussmeier has a full season under his belt for us to you kind of get a little bit more of a sample size to judge these players on. And so that's the sample size issue is the biggest thing for me. Is you really don't think Arch is going to get any better? Or are you just trolling? Are you just being an internet troll and you're just trying to get a rise out of people and you're just trying to get clicks on whatever comment you put on whatever message board or on whatever social media platform? Is that all you're doing? Because if that is what you're doing, then you've already lost all credibility unless it's a bit. But that's the crazy part for me. Now, if you actually feel that way, then you're just blinded by burnt orange hate, because that's all I can think of.
Yeah, you're blinded by the hate of the hype he got, which he didn't ask for. Texas didn't ask for. He got that because of his because the hype was so unreasonable. The only way that they were going to come out of that game, people saying he lived up to the hype, was if he threw for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no picks. That is the only way that he comes out of that game unscathed.
And a win.
Obviously,
and a win.
And a win, obviously. But obviously, it was the worst case scenario. He played about as bad as you could have imagined. He was the reason Texas lost. So it was a formula for disaster. But my thing is, and I talked about this on an episode earlier, is go watch his mechanics. And opponent doesn't matter at that point. You could say they're rushing him. There's a pat, but he wasn't under pressure that much against Ohio State. In fact, some of his best throws in the Mississippi State game were while getting hit or under pressure. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the mechanics of those versus his mechanics against Ohio State, again, take off the number, take off the name, different quarterbacks.
Right.
And even, apparently sources inside the program, everyone was just shocked that not that Arch struggled, but that his mechanics just fell apart in the game.
He looked the way he looked while throwing the ball. That was the biggest
mechanically, because that's what he's known for, is his mechanics and his being a technician at the position. And that being the issue just makes me, I just have a hard time seeing that carry over the rest of the year as he gets more snaps, gets more comfortable. Apparently he had a really good practice already on Bloody Tuesday, which is, for those you don't know, that's what Texas coins Tuesday practices, because it's the most physical practice of the week. And it's got to carry over to the game, but I just have a hard time in it. The thing is, if it carries over to this game, no one's going to care.
If it carries over the next 3 weeks, it's not going to matter.
But to me, for me, and maybe it's because I have a just larger brain than a pea-sized Sooner and Aggie brain, who don't even look that good against UTSA.
I see a lot from Longhorn fans. I see a lot.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been very vocal that the Longhorn fan base is right down there in the depths with those other guys.
Yeah.
Especially on message boards and on X. I mean,
I am glad our beat writers, the beat writers that are very close to the program, are very level-headed and are not. We don't have a Billy Lucci, thank God, for the Texas.
Yeah, they're not
Longhorns.
sunshine pumping. They're emitting. They're saying that, it was a shock and it being a bad game, a terrible game, but they're also just saying, I have a hard time seeing these problems continue, but he's got to now prove it otherwise within this season.
All right.
And, but I was going to go ahead and just segue into what we're going to start talking about, what we want to see from the game plan.
Well,
the first thing,
real quickly though, I was just gonna get the AP poll thing out of the way, but yeah, I mean, if you want to segue into it,
I was just going to say one point real quick, because it's not really game plan related. For me, Arch can impress in the next few weeks, to me, by just showing that his mechanics are fine and that game will be the outlier in his career versus the standard.
Yeah.
If he just looks, if he's not sidearming crap and throwing off platform, and I mean, you're going to have if he's not doing it when you don't have to, sometimes you're going to have to get a little funky with how you throw the football. That's just the quarterback position in 2025. But when he has time and he doesn't need to do that, you just need to see him look like he's looked in every other snap we've seen him in his whole career outside of Ohio State. Even against Georgia, he was rattled, but his mechanics didn't look just completely awful.
Right. People forget he got a couple passing attempts and got a series or two in that Georgia game.
Yeah, had a
all
good run too.
Yeah. So, hey, game plan for San Jose State, Jake. Kind of what you and I both want to see moving forward. What I would love to see, and I'm talking first half, first 2 quarters, I want to see heavy on the pass game. I want to see Arch drop back, slinging it. I want to see him making reads. I want to see him extend the pocket using his legs, having the ability and the option to run if he needs to run. Take off. Don't take hits, but take off and run. If the only rushing yards I really want to see Texas have is either from an RPO and it was just the read that needed to be made, or it was Arch taking off with his legs. And I really don't want him to run all that much, but if it's there, take it. But I got to see this passing offense start to click. I need to see chemistry. I need to start seeing wide receivers and quarterback on the same page with the offensive line. Again, you've got 3 opponents coming up, not just San Jose State, to work out any of these type of kinks, but it needs to be a glorified scrimmage for the Texas coaching staff in terms of what did we just absolutely not like against Ohio State that needs to be worked out in with live reps in a game. And I think that's what we're going to see Saturday in the first half. I think it's going to be very pass heavy, and I would love to see it. And I want to see that.
Yeah, I want it to be pass heavy. I will say with the caveat, I want to see Christian Clark and Gibson get a lot of carries as well. Not necessarily a lot, but I want to see them get the bulk share of the carries. Texas needs to find a running back that can find explosive plays. Because there was plays where it felt like Wisner, especially Wisner, was just not breaking tackles. And I don't think he's going to provide you a 60-yard run at any point this season unless it is just untouched.
Mm-hmm.
And that concerns me. Because teams will play with a light box and try to stop the passing game after what Ohio State did. Now, I don't think everyone's going to be able to play that way like Ohio State did for sure, but you got to be able to produce some explosives in the run game. And even last year, Wisner, he had a couple explosive runs, yes, but in some of those games against the better defenses, he wasn't just making a ton of guys miss. I mean, A&M was probably his best game of the season. He played well against Oklahoma, but that was more of as Oklahoma tired down. I think all the reports all fall camp where Christian Clark was the most explosive of the running backs. Yeah. And for me, I get why you didn't play him against Ohio State because it would be his first college action on the field. And so I get why you don't do that, but you need to see what you have from him and Gibson in these few games because you have to find an explosive option out of the backfield that can go for 60-yard touchdown.
You know what I like to see is to actually start the game off heavy, like not this game, not these games, but Florida, Oklahoma, insert name here, Kentucky, whoever, Arkansas. I want to start the game with big runs and like establishing the run on the opening drive. And not this like when was the last time Texas came out just run heavy with a big 15-yard gain right out the gate, or like a big 30-yard pop right off the gate, and it seems like it's been probably since Bijan. At least it feels that way. Now maybe
they have missed the explosive run game since Bijan
early on. Maybe Jonathan Brooks, but like early on, and yeah. I'm talking about like early in a game, like first series. Like opening series of just like, we have this play and it sets the tone moving forward for the remainder of the game that the defense at least now has to be cognizant of stopping the run for the remainder of the game. Right off the get-go, a 40-yard pop. It feels like it's been a long time. It feels like all big runs have come in the second half when defense is already worn down.
Yeah, I mean, CJ Baxter getting that 14-yard run in the first drive felt astronomical.
Huge. Yeah.
Just it felt like an explosive run, and it was, 14 yards is a lot. It's a first down, all that good stuff. But it's not, to me, explosive is 20 plus. And that's where I kind of worry about this run game is getting the 20+ yard, and that's not an offensive line worry. That's a running back worry. Just because
You
Baxter,
got to
you
make
just
guys
got to.
miss.
Yeah, I mean, I trust Baxter to truck people and get yards after contact. I don't know if he has the speed, especially yet still recovering from his injury to do that. Christian Clark's coming off an injury, but Christian Clark is a fast, elusive type guy, anyways. And supposedly he has recovered incredibly and is pretty much back to 100%. And so I think I think we're going to see a lot of Christian Clark because I think they want to A, get him reps in games, and B, see if he's ready to go to maybe be the Jaden Blue, but maybe have a bigger role than Jaden Blue because Jaden Blue was very limited in his role at times because you couldn't trust him to hold on to the football.
I'd like to see Texas go heavy pass game in the first half. Third quarter, mix it up with RPO, a little bit more of a balanced attack, get these running backs involved, start shortening the game a little bit in terms of time of possession. And then fourth quarter, hopefully by that point, you've got them put away by 40 plus points. And you just run the timeout. And that's whenever we get to see the Jarrett Gibsons. That's when we get to see, these guys really tote the rock consistently, really every single possession and almost every single play. I want there to be mostly just run plays and kind of work out the offensive run game on that aspect. I do want, while Arch is in the game, because I don't believe he'll play every snap of these games, while he's in the game, and I'd like to see him play through the third quarter despite the score. Despite the score, I'm talking live reps, need him out reading defenses, playing these games, not just, oh, Texas has a 45-point lead at halftime, Arch is out of the game. I'd like them to play a couple more possessions.
Yeah, and a couple kind of curveballs to throw you. I really hope these defenses run a lot of zone. I really hope they don't see a bunch of man-to-man coverage over these next few weeks because I don't think that's the practice this pass game needs. They need to practice on finding holes in the zone, Arch seeing the zones better. And again, no one in the country is going to be able to play zone coverage like Ohio State did. I think Ohio State probably is the best secondary in the country. Texas might be the only one who's right there with them. But I'd give the advantage to Ohio State because they have Caleb Downs, which, by the way, after watching the film of that game, I think Caleb Downs should be in the Heisman race. I mean, he just does stuff that doesn't show up on the box score that not many people can do. He would be a star in the NFL this year. But I hope teams run zone coverage. And ironically, I want to see deep balls because it's fun. I do want them to get some explosives in the pass game. I want to see Arch look a little like Quinn at times, ironically, and not from a pocket standpoint or anything like that, but from a short to intermediate range passing. I want to see those balls be on the money because those are what lost them that football game. He hit some pretty nice deep balls in that Ohio State game in that fourth quarter, and there weren't a lot of deep attempts other than that. Obviously, the pick was one. It was a bad route and a bad throw, all the above. But we know Arch can throw the deep ball. I need to see those short to intermediate routes be hit with timing, getting their playmakers in open space, and they need to be on target leading the wide receiver, not them having to go back and them having to slow down. Wingo's so fast, Livingston's so fast. You do have speed out there, despite everyone's all of a sudden trying to act like they're slow. And you got to get your playmakers the ball in stride. And so that's what I want to see from Arch, other than just mechanics and passing game rhythm that kind of coincides with what I'm saying, but just specifically the 0 to 10 to 15 yard passes. Those are what I want to see on the money.
Yeah. Hey, Jake, if you want to make picks and win money this year, Underdog is the place to go. And we've got some picks that we are going to share with you, some entries. They've got all sorts of different fun games from fantasy games to pick'em games to higher lowers, all sorts of different games that you can play on Underdog. And if you sign up today and use promo code HORNS, you can score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code HORNS. Millions of fans have already won and billions making picks on Underdog. Are you going to be next? We'll see. And if you want to ride with us, you can do that because here I believe these are Jake's picks for the Texas San Jose State game. Jake, go ahead. Give us a little breakdown as to what you're thinking is.
Yeah, I love the hire for Arch Manning on longest completion of 43.5 yards. I have a hard time seeing them not have an explosive pass play that's 50 plus yards in this game. So that's kind of a fun one to throw out there. I think this is a game, and we'll talk about this more either later in this episode or in tomorrow's episode. I think this is a game where you're not going to see many sacks again. You're going to see interceptions though, and so I really, if they don't get 2 or more interceptions in this game, I'll be disappointed. So I like higher on interceptions thrown by Walker Eget, the quarterback of San Jose State. And then I think Ryan Wingo is going to be the one to catch one of the big passes from Arch Manning. So I have a hard time seeing him not going higher than 71.5 yards.
And if they have the game plan that you and I are talking about, this sets up very well for a Ryan Wingo type performance of pass heavy in the first half and work out the passing game.
And they're going to want to feed Wingo after having a bad first game. And so I think also just hitting those short and intermediate routes, that'll open up a deep shot. And that's how I want to see the deep shot opened up, is by nickel and diming them.
And here's the thing too, with Wingo, you can get a screen pass and he can take it 50 yards just on a screen with his speed. So here's what I've got. I've got Arch Manning throwing no interceptions, lower than a half of an interception. I think he takes care of the ball. I think they're going to have him really just play a very smart game. Trey Wisner, talking about big runs, as what we were talking about. I think in this game, we see Trey Wisner break off a 20-yard run. I think we see some pretty breakout runs at some point in this game. And then the quarterback for San Jose State, Eget, I think he's going to have a tough time moving the ball. I see under or a lower than 153.5 yards with Texas's stout defense. I don't see San Jose State moving the ball very well.
Yeah, no, I like the combination of both of our picks, and I would love to see Wisner hit the higher on that one for you.
Oh, for sure.
A
20-yard run.
Concerns.
A 20-yard run against San Jose State, I feel like is reasonable. With Wisner.
I'll be disappointed if that does not hit. I mean, I'll be even more concerned about the explosiveness of Wisner at times with that.
Yeah, no kidding. All right. Don't forget that you must be 18 plus to play in the state of Texas, 19 in Alabama and Nebraska, also in Colorado. For some games now, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assistunderdogfantasy.com for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. If you're in New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. Again, if you use promo code HORNS, score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. Again, that is promo code HORNS. All right, Jake, let's go ahead and discuss the new AP poll that was released. Texas dropping down to number 7. I don't see that as being a huge concern or a big surprise considering how they played. The other teams getting the wins that they had. LSU obviously going to jump because they beat a higher ranked Clemson team. Miami beating a ranked Notre Dame team. Perfectly fine with them being up there. Georgia, is going to be where they're at. I would say maybe Oregon around that range probably, but I'm okay with Oregon. They won. So I'm okay with Texas being behind them. Really no issues with the new top 25, aside from, I think Auburn should probably be ranked. There's no reason why Indiana should still be up there. Tennessee, I thought was a little low after their performance. I'm perfectly fine bumping them up above like an SMU. But a TCU that demolished a Bill Belichick-led North Carolina team, I could easily see them at number 25, and Utah should probably be higher because they dominated UCLA. Now, I don't think UCLA is a very good team. you know what? I'll give the AP a little bit of props here. They did good with Florida State, bumping them up all the way to 14.
Yeah, digging with Florida State, I think you could have dropped Alabama out, honestly.
I think it's too early. We just don't know, because what if Florida State's just a really good team and
Yeah,
Alabama
but
ends up being a really
then
good
they
team?
end up back in the rankings. But
Yeah.
to me, an Auburn should be rewarded over in Alabama. Even Georgia Tech going on the road and winning at Colorado. BYU, well, they didn't really play anyone, but they dominated. But Auburn and Georgia Tech, but I would imagine TCU should probably be higher up on the getting votes. I would love to see like just big punishments when a team looks horrible in
Yeah.
week one. And my thing is Alabama looked horrible, and it was an effort thing at
Yeah.
times too.
Right.
And that
Yeah.
should be punished. I do want to mention Kevin Carter as the dunce of the week, the Florida Gators writer. He had Texas dropping to 16 while having Clemson ahead of them at 12. But yet had Ohio State 1 and LSU 2, which just from a reasoning, even if you want to drop Texas that much, from a just reasoning it in your head standpoint, you should lose your vote, because that doesn't make sense. Because
Yeah.
you're saying LSU's worse than Ohio State, but yet Texas gets punished more than Clemson for losing on the road at Ohio State.
And losing by
you're now
less.
number 1 team in the nation and losing by 7 with a drive with a chance to tie it at the end. But Clemson, who lost at home to your team that's worse than Ohio State, and Clemson, who was ranked below Texas to start, is ahead of them now. Make that make sense.
Yeah.
Just I don't care too much about these rankings in week 1, week 2, but when I see a writer who's just clearly just doing something to stir the pot, I'm going to give him what he wants in stirring the pot, but I'm also going to call him an idiot, and I hope he watches this clip.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and get into this San Jose State. A little bit of what they do, a little bit of what we saw. They lost to Central Michigan. If you're unaware and not up to date on San Jose State football, Jake, what does San Jose State bring into this game?
Well, I think people are going to be a little disappointed after this game and some of the defensive aspects, because everyone's going to want to see a ton of sacks. I don't think we're going to see a bunch of sacks in this game. San Jose State gave up 1 sack in week 1. Now it's Central Michigan, not Texas, but
they threw the ball 43 times.
They threw the ball 43 times, and guess what? Their game plan against Texas is going to have the ball out faster than Ohio State had the ball out. And that's going to be their game plan. They're going to spread you out 4 or 5 wide receivers, and they're going to throw the rock. And they're probably not going to game plan to run it much, because they're not a running team to begin with, and you're not going to run the ball against Texas as San Jose State. So I imagine they come out and try to test the quick and the intermediate passing game. The only way Texas, to me, is going to get a bunch of sacks in this game is by getting them into 3rd and long passing situations, which means you have to shut them down from getting 4 yards here, 4 yards there early on passing plays, which I think Texas will do. I'm not saying they're going to end the game with 0 sacks, but considering people were disappointed in the sack total in week 1, whenever, by the way, Texas had a 30% pressure percentage in week 1, which pressures are damn close to just as important as sacks, because they create havoc plays, which is what you're looking for as a defense. So they still had a good pressure percentage. Ohio State was just getting rid of the ball quick, but people can't look at things in that way for whatever reason.
They look at straight stats and numbers, and that's how
they just look at a
that's
box
exactly
score.
how the game went.
We had a comment that just listed Colin Simmons' box score, and I'm like, if you want to get mad at him at the penalty, that's one thing. But if you want to sit there and post his box score, you're just box score watching. You're not watching the game. You're not watching the
line of
style of
scrimmage.
offense that Ohio State ran.
Yeah.
And Colin Simmons didn't even play that much, because they were bringing out big personnel most of the time trying to run the football. But yeah, I don't think we'll see a ton of sacks, but that's what you're going to see from San Jose State offensively. I haven't really looked at their defense much, to be honest. I don't care to look into because they're going to run something different against Texas to try to shake it up. But offensively, what you see is what you get, and that's what
they
played.
Okay, so here's how the game went for anybody who wants to know. Central Michigan beat them 16-14, and San Jose State threw the ball 43 times, threw it for 300 plus yards, 2 touchdowns, had 2 interceptions from the quarterback Eggett. And so, again, you throw the ball 43 times and you only put up 14 points. You have a couple of turnovers thrown in there. The defense they're a little bit more reliant on the defense, but I would say the opponent that they played, I think San Jose State was at home, by the way, as well. I think they were favorites to beat Central Michigan. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure they were. And so they didn't have a great week one performance, and their offense looked very stagnant and malign. The defense played Central Michigan, and they're not going to be able to keep up with what Texas does offensively. We're looking at lines right now for the Texas San Jose State game. We're going to get into that tomorrow's episode. We're basically going to give you a full rundown of week one games that we're going to discuss for tomorrow. And so with that being said, that is going to wrap it up for today's episode. I'm Tanner Carlson. That is Jake Jimerson. Please like, share, and subscribe if you've made it this far into the video. There's no reason for you not to hit that subscribe button. It's free to do so. Follow us on social medias. You see our handles right there. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, hook 'em.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.